Have you ever had to make the decision between life or death? I have. When I was 24 years old, I was living in cold Minneapolis with lots of snow. I was pregnant and happy. Felt better than I ever felt in my life. Until one day, I went to the doctor for my normal checkup, and he left the room, and then he came back, and I saw this puzzled look on his face. And I stopped. I stared for a second. And then I said, "What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?" He said, "Well, I've got some news that I need to tell you." And of course, I start welling up, getting ready to cry, and going, "Oh my gosh, what is he getting ready to say?" And he said to me, "You need to go to the hospital right now." I said, "What are you talking about? What do you mean right now?" He said, "You have toxemia, which is a blood disorder. And we need to monitor you and make sure everything is going to be okay. And toxemia can make your blood pressure go up. So everything has to be monitored by the second." I don't know if you have ever had to make a decision about life or death, but I have. I was 24 years old, living in cold Minneapolis with lots and lots of snow. I was pregnant and felt on top of the world. I just loved it. Oh my God, I felt so good. I had not felt that good. I was like, I don't know what chemistry is in my system, but I feel good. I loved being pregnant. Until one day, I went to my doctor, and he looked at me and he said, "I'll be right back." And I paused. And then I said, "Okay." He left the room. And of course, my mind is going all over the place. He walks back in and he gives me this puzzled look. And I stopped and I said, "What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?" He said, "Well, I have some news." I said, "Okay, what is it?" As my stomach is just churning and my mind is going everywhere. I had no idea what was getting ready to come out of his mouth. He said, "You have toxemia." I said, "And what is that?" He said, "It's a blood disorder. And the blood disorder can make your blood pressure go up. You need to go to the hospital right now." I said, "Huh? What do you mean?" I didn't really process what he said. He said, "No, you got to go to the hospital right now. We need to check you in. We need to monitor you. We need to make sure that everything's going to be okay." I started crying and I said, "Please, please, please don't make me go to the doctor right now. I got to go home and call my mama. I need to talk to my mother. Please let me go home and pack my own clothes." And because I was so hyper and crying, he said, "Okay, okay, remember, you don't want your blood pressure to go up. Go home and pack your things and then go to the hospital." My husband and I left. I got home And I mean, I opened up that door, couldn't wait to get it open. And I ran to the phone. Mama! She's like, baby, what's wrong? I said, I just left the doctor. Here I am, 6 months pregnant. And he telling me I got to go to the hospital. She said, why you got to go to the hospital? What's wrong? I said, I don't know. Something called. Let me see if I can think of it. Oh yeah. Some blood disorder. It was called toxemia. And I was like, I need you now, mama. Come now. Please. Please come now. She said, okay, baby, it's going to be okay. I'm on the next thing out. I get to the hospital and I get checked in. And the nurse gets ready to come in. About that time, my mama walked through the door. I was like, Mama! And she's just hugging me. And I'm just crying and crying. She said, baby, stop crying. And the nurse is like, remember, you don't want your blood pressure to go up. You got to stop crying. So I finally calmed down a little bit. And I said, and the nurse said, I need to talk to you. That's why I came in. I said, what is it now? What's wrong? What is it? And she said, we need to take the baby. If you're going to live, if you have a chance of living, or the baby has a chance of living, you're going to take the baby. We got to take the baby now. But here's what I need you to do. I know we don't like to talk about this, but I got to have a form filled out. Is it your life? Or is it your son's life if we have complications? And immediately, I said, my son, I've had 24 years on this earth and I want him to experience life. And I looked at my mother. I said, and you can take care of him. You raised me, you can raise him. My mother looked at me and said, absolutely not. We're not making this decision like that. I said, yes, we are. I said, Mama, this is my choice. At that moment, as I was getting ready and going to be wheeled to the operating room, I knew I had made an important decision that I had to live with for the rest of my life if I survived. And if I didn't, it was time to move on. I get into surgery. And I'm lying on the table, and the last thing I hear is, we're losing her. We're losing her. And then I blanked out. When I woke up, I had learned that my heart stopped beating and I died for 3 minutes. And it was at that moment that I began to reflect on the fact I'm still here. But the only thing I could think about is, where's my baby? Is my baby okay? And he was in the NICU. And I am happy to report he is a 6'3" man doing extremely well. He's prospered career-wise as a father, as a friend, as a brother. He has done it all. You would never, ever know. So it ended on a fantastic note. But I took that experience and it began to help me to understand the power of decisions, the choices that we make, and understanding what those choices really mean. So when I think about decisions, and we make them all the time, it's important for us to understand, what am I making a decision about? What are the ramifications of those decisions? What is the risk associated with those decisions? And how much will things change? Because I'm here to tell you, every decision has a price you pay. I'm going to say that again. Every decision has a price you pay, whether it's a good decision, an easy decision, a hard decision, they all have a price. And when I say that, people look at me and say, well, a good decision, what do you mean it has a price? When you make a decision, you may impact your time with others. You may impact things that you used to do with others that have a different opinion, that they want that time, they want to be with you as opposed to what you're doing. It may be a decision where you're concentrating on yourself and no one else. That's a price. You have to decide, am I willing to pay that price to concentrate on me? Still a good decision, but it has a price. Likewise, when we make decisions and we measure the risk, we measure what it's going to impact and understand those impacts. Sometimes we make a decision and it's not the best decision. But if we thought about consequences, if we thought about risk, it doesn't catch us totally off guard. It helps us to adapt a little bit easier, even if something happens that you had no idea when you did it could be a possible risk in making it happen. So it's always important when you're making a decision, start with the facts that you know. Start with the implications that you believe could be there, the risk that could be there. And this is where talking to others, you get different perspectives, still your choice, but you get different perspectives to understand what that impact may look like and what it means if certain things happen. And it's always good to get different perspectives because the more perspectives you have, the better decision you can make, but it's your choice. And people need to understand this is my choice. I'm just asking for a different perspective. Now, that's all great. Get all those things together, have those conversations, and make it happen. But what do you do when you don't have enough information to make that choice, but time is of the essence? Making that decision, the impact of change, what's going to happen, what you're going through, time is of the essence. And here's what I know. You can only make the best decision with the information you have available. So you do the best you can, and then be willing to deal with the cost afterwards. So let's talk a little bit about that cost. The cost is about change. The cost is about, can I deal with the impacts? And am I ready to handle a change? Now, we all know change can be good. Change can be bad. I may be anticipating this good decision I made and having a great change to my life, to the things I'm doing, my mental health, my joy, my happiness, my passion, my future. I may have all of that. But then when I begin to think about what's going to change because of it, I may have to change and not do things I used to do. I may have to change and get a different mindset. I may have to change and truly think differently about how I do things. So change and decisions always go hand in hand. And the impacts of that always go together. So when you don't have enough information, you do the very best you can. Now, you know, I always think about when I'm making a decision, I always learn how risk averse am I? Am I a person that can handle risk no matter what happens? Am I not a person that can handle risk no matter what happens? What do I do when I'm up against risk? How does it make me feel? Do I get anxiety? Do I get headaches? Can I not function? Does it make me feel bad internally? How does risk make you feel? Because we all have a different risk tolerance. And you have to consider that risk in terms of what could go good and what could go bad and may not turn out the way you want to in terms of moving forward. Because again, the impact of that risk can be physical, it can be mental, It can be things that you're not ready to deal with as you're continue to move forward. So we always have to look at that risk factor. But I do know, and that lesson taught me, I went with what I believed. I went with my gut. I went with what I truly wanted. And I was okay. If my number was called, I was okay with that. But I had to do what felt right for me. I got information from my mother. She said how she felt. I respected it. But at the end of the day, it was my decision. And so as we move forward, you also have to take that ownership. Own your decisions. Own the change that comes with those decisions, good or bad. And if it didn't turn out the way you wanted to, what you're going to do. But you own that. Nobody owns it but yourself. And that's why you make those decisions. So I'd like to leave you with a thought about the power of decision making and the impact of change. Always remember, every decision I make has a price I have to pay, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Every decision I make has a certain amount of risk that's going to go with it. Could be small, could be large. And every decision that I make has an ultimate impact somewhere. Could be to myself, could be to someone else, could be things that I'm doing, but they all have an impact. And that impact is what's going to cause me to have to think about, how do I change to make this the best decision with the best outcome that I wanted to have. So always remember, the power is from within for your decisions. The power of accepting change is from within. No one can do that change but you. You have the ultimate power within yourself to see the outcomes the way that you want them. I've truly enjoyed having an opportunity to speak to you about decisions, the impact of change, and the ability to measure risk. And if you are looking for someone who can be a thought partner that can help you through these conversations and considerations and things like that, I encourage you to reach out. You can go to my website, VickiWrightHamilton.com. That's V as in Valentine, ICKIWR as in rabbit, IGHTHAM as in Mary, ILTON.com. Let's have a discussion. And there's also some free tools and things that are there. Feel free to look at them, see what's there. I invite you to shop with my products, the things that are available, to help you. Because at the end of the day, God put me here to serve you. Have a great day.